Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden and today's home safari. My name is Ron Evans. I'm the curator of primates here at the Cincinnati Zoo. That just means I'm in charge of things with an opposable thumb. And I'm here today with the head keeper of Jungle Trails, Stephanie Schuler. And we're going to do a really fun activity. It's kind of a traditional activity here at the zoo with the primates. And that's we're going to get a jump on Easter and do a fun Easter egg hunt. So Steph, could you tell us a little bit about what's set up out here?
Sure. So out in the yard we do have some hard-boiled eggs that we colored. We have a few paper baskets, if you will, that have wood wool, which is their normal bedding. So in there are some eggs. We have sunflower seeds for them to forage through to find, some raisins and some grapes. We also have a couple of other enrichment items like fire hose circles, and we have a primahedron hanging from the tree up there that they'll also search through to find their food items.
So we set everything up, but we thought, well, we need to wait until we get started with the safari today before we let the bonobos out, or there wouldn't be anything to see. So without any further delay, we're going to call back to our super keeper, Matt Miller, to let the bonobos come out and have some fun. Matt Miller, come in, please. Hey, we're all set out here. You can let them out.
So coming out into the yard will be a trio of bonobos. We have Virgil, a male bonobo who is 26 years old, a female bonobo, Zanga, who's 21, and Zanga's 5-year-old offspring, Bolingo.
And I hear them coming. Bonobos never sneak up on you because they're very vocal. So once again, I think most people know what a bonobo is, but perhaps you don't. A lot of people think they're actually chimpanzees, and they look a lot like chimpanzees, but they're a completely different species than a chimpanzee. They come from, and you can tell the difference in that bonobos are a little bit smaller than a regular chimp. Their faces are flatter and more like a human's face than a chimp. And they have a whole lot of different societal organizations that we can talk about in a moment too. They are so closely related to us, they share over 98% of the same DNA. So, Steph, who do we have going on? What's going on?
So Virgil is up front. He's our male. That's 26 years old. And then we have Zanga on the far left, is 21, and her son Bo is 5 years old. Bolingo is our 10th bonobo born here at the Cincinnati Zoo. And right now the bonobos are doing some tension relieving. So when there's excitement, they do some hugging and other acts of love to ease the tensions, and then everybody's nice and peaceful while they're eating their favorite snacks.
So we call bonobos the hippie apes. And unlike chimps, who are a little more like humans, a little more like other primates, where there can be a little more aggression in the group, bonobos diffuse any tensions or any nervousness or excitement they might have through close bonding. They groom each other a lot, they embrace, they hug, they actually kind of kiss in a way. So they have and that makes them relax and be happy again. So once again, affectionately called the hippie apes, unlike gorillas and chimps that are more, can get into a few more little aggressive moments sometimes to hash things out. We've had, like Steph said, we've had 10 bonobos born here at the Cincinnati Zoo. That's really important because bonobos are a critically endangered species. That means we could maybe see bonobos disappear in our lifetimes, which would not be a good thing. And the bigger challenge is bonobos only come from the Democratic Republic of Congo in a very isolated area. And it's really hard for a great ape to repopulate because it takes them so long to raise their offspring. It takes the interbirth interval between bonobos is about 4 to 5 to 6 years between having babies. So it's a big challenge. The good news is there's a lot of people trying to do a lot of important things to help wild bonobos. Cincinnati Zoo has a cell phone recycling program, which helps bonobos. And you can recycle your cell phones and reduce the need for a mineral to be taken from the wild where the bonobos live, called coltan. It's in all of our cell phones. By recycling them with us at the zoo, we reduce the need for as much as that to be taken. And the money we make off of that, we reinvest in our conservation programs here at the zoo. They are very excited about the Easter eggs, obviously. And, oh, wait a second, we have some questions. I keep talking too much. So, let's see. So, Jill already asked one. Are they endangered? Yeah, they are endangered. Once again, the only place they come from is the Democratic Republic of Congo. And, once again, a lot of good conservation work going on. You can help wild bonobos in those conservation by recycling cell phones with us right here at the Cincinnati Zoo.
So Ollie asked, what other animals are they related to? Bonobos are actually our closest relatives. If you look at our DNA, we share about 98.6% of DNA with bonobos, also related to chimpanzees. Ollie also asked if they use tools, and yes, bonobos, being apes, have very large brains, and they use those brains to help them find food, and part of that's tool usage. So we will give them enrichment items that helps to enact that natural behavior that they would have. So we'll give them puzzle feeders that they might have to break off some browse branches to find the right stick to stick into the enrichment feeder to get out raisins or applesauce or whatever else might be in them.
So we have a question, what is enrichment? That's a good question. Enrichment just means something different in the animals' lives every day. Enrichment can be a novelty food item like a colored Easter egg, or maybe it's hiding their stuff in a puzzle feeder. We have a great big book of novel ideas that we can mix and match from every day for all the primates. So on top of the great husbandry they get, the great vet care they get, all of the good care that they get, they also get special enrichment items each day. So Steph talked just a second ago about their big brains. That's one of the things that make primates primates. Primates have the largest brains per body size of any type of animal. They also have stereoscopic or binocular vision, or meaning their eyes are on the fronts of their heads, so they can have really good depth perception. And then the most common item that all primates have and makes a primate are, like I mentioned earlier, those opposable thumbs that they use to manipulate items and to make things like tools. And so it makes them quite successful at manipulating their environment with those three features. And you can manipulate your environment as well, if you like, by using your own opposable thumbs and pushing that donate button for the Cincinnati Zoo today. That would be fantastic. A really good use for all of our opposable thumbs.
Alex asked, what is their favorite food? I think they have several different types of, several favorite foods. For fruits, they do seem to prefer grapes, apples, oranges. Vegetables, they love carrots, cucumbers, green beans. And then, obviously, they are very excited for their hard-boiled eggs today, which they get on a regular basis for protein, as they do not eat meat here at the zoo.
Kyle asks a really interesting question. Kyle said, do bonobos make good pets? And I really appreciate that question, because that's one of the most important things we try and talk about here at the Cincinnati Zoo about primates and pets. It kind of seems like you would like to own a bonobo or maybe a lemur, but that's really not good for the animals, because they need the social interaction from others of their own kind of like we do. You can kind of get a feel for that more than ever these days, and the fact that we're all a little bit lonely right now, aren't we? Because we can't socialize with each other like we normally do. And that just shows you just how much primates really need to be together with their own kind. So you can't replace that, even if you think you really care about primates that much, to buy one as a pet. So no, they do not make good pets. They bite, they get too strong for us. Whole lots of reasons not to ever have a primate as a pet. But I appreciate that question.
So what you just saw as Ron was answering that question is a bonobo contact call. So we do have another group of bonobos inside the building who were vocalizing to this group of bonobos, and they're just calling back to them, so they're communicating amongst each other.
I'm over here. I'm over here. Let's see. How old do they get, Steph?
Our oldest bonobo we have here in Cincinnati is Vernon. He's about 48 years old. There are older female bonobos in the world, very close to 60 years old.
Yeah.
So we're not 100% sure just how old they can get, but we are seeing into the 50s and 60s for a lot of bonobos.
And they do live longer in zoos than they do in the wild because of all the special care that we give them. Life is a little tougher in the field, but yeah, they're getting into their 60s sometimes, which is a great sign of the quality care that they get in zoos. Aubrey asked a hard one that I have to ask Stephanie. How can you tell them apart, Steph?
Well, that is difficult when you're first getting to care for the bonobos. It's just a lot of working with them every day. Virgil, here our male, he is our tallest, our biggest male that we have here at Cincinnati Zoo. So you can see by his size. And also he does have a little bit of gray in his beard. Bo, being our youngest, he's pretty easy to tell apart. Zanga, our female out here, she has a little more slender of a body build than a lot of our other females. So we just tell them apart by some facial features,
behavior,
their
how
behaviors.
they act. Yeah. It just takes time, and that's why it's so important that they have great keepers and long-term keepers to keep track of all that kind of stuff. Do they swim, Steph? Olivia asked, do they swim? No.
No, they do not swim. I mean, some of our bonobos do like some water play.
Yeah.
But they're not good swimmers at all. So they might wade in some water, but
yeah,
that's about.
They don't swim. And do they have poachers? Yeah, unfortunately they do. There's something called the bushmeat trade in the wild as well, which means wild game meat, which it's illegal to hunt a bonobo, but sometimes it still happens in other species, and it's not good, and we're working towards that not happening, but they do have poachers. And once again, that's why it's important that we support that conservation effort like we do here, certainly with the cell phone recycling at the zoo. Who's their favorite keeper, Steph?
Their favorite keeper is whoever is caring for them that day.
Well, but I'm definitely their favorite curator. We know that for sure. I'm the only curator. Why are they squeaking, Steph?
They are very excited. Bonobos, when they're eating, they do a lot of happy squeals and squeaks. It's just happy time for them when they're eating all of their favorite foods.
And kind of related to that, they asked, do they vocalize the same as chimps and gorillas?
They do have similar vocalizations to chimps. You're the gorilla.
Yeah. They definitely have the similarities to chimps, but a whole lot of different vocalizations that they make. The squeaks and squeals really are kind of unique to the bonobos. And the orangs have their own vocalizations as well. Gorillas have about 13 to 20 different vocalizations and different inflections of those vocalizations, which mean different things and different levels of things. So they have a very complex language, actually, and it's also augmented by facial expressions and body postures and combinations of all three that they have to start learning from the day they're born, just like humans. That's why another reason why it's not good to take a primate from their parents, because they have to learn just like we do, all the skills they need to get along with others of their kind, starting from day one. And it takes them a long time to learn all those intricacies in bonobo society or gorilla society. How long is their gestation?
Sophia asked how long their gestation is. It's right about 8 months, maybe just a little bit longer.
About 8.5 months, yeah. 250 days generally. 8.5 months for a bonobo. Who are their predators? Humans
Humans.
mostly. In the wild, you know, maybe a leopard on a really lucky day might grab a little bonobo, but generally they don't have any natural predators. And it really is just humans that are kind of causing any strife with the bonobos. All right, so once again, thanks for coming to visit us at Jungle Trails today. Please remember to look on our website for the related activity to our talk today. And of course, we'll keep doing the safaris every day. Stay tuned for what's up next. I'm sure they'll post that soon enough. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, bonobos.
And don't forget to use those opposable thumbs and click that donate button. We appreciate all of your support.